This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Abner is off tonight. For the first time in more than a decade, Lubbock County will have a new lawmaker in the State House. Carl Tepper joins the Lubbock delegation as it heads to Austin for the 88th legislative session. On the eve of that, KCBD News Channel 11's Case Wilbanks joins us to share his conversation with Representative-elect Tepper. Case?
It's been a very interesting process. It was a tough campaign, but I hope at this point we could all come together and work towards the good and future of Texas.
House District 84 has a new shape and a new representative, Carl Tepper.
What to pack, how many suits to take, how many shirts, how many ties.
Besides the literal move to Austin and into the Capitol, Tepper is hoping to see movement on the issues he believes will be necessary to tackle in the next 140 days, including how to use the Permanent University Fund.
How the money's meted out through the state budget and how much more Texas Tech and non-PUF fund colleges would get compared to the PUF fund colleges, and can we get them all lined out and make it more of an equitable, fair distribution of state dollars for the state universities.
What he doesn't want to see funded is offices of diversity, equity, and inclusion at those state institutions.
I call them, division, inequity, and indoctrination.
He's seeking to eliminate those offices. One of what he calls social conservative bills he's filed. The other bans what he calls political tests for government employees.
They feel like they're being coerced and indoctrinated with tests to get their job.
And his other bills call for limits on property appraisals.
There's already an appraisal cap on your homestead. It's 10% a year. I'd like to see that lowered to 2.5% a year and introduce a cap on commercial rental property, investment property to 8%.
The formation of the state budget will determine how the legislature will support other issues like water and transportation infrastructure.
Looking at really all the infrastructure of West Texas, including the ERCOT grid, and making sure that's shored up.
Needs that come with growth in District 84 and the state. Tepper says he's ready to tackle it all with his partners in Austin and Lubbock County to continue what he calls the Texas miracle.
And I think we need to keep that tradition going.
Apologies for that microphone issue. Tepper says that he expects Dade Phelan to be elected Speaker of the House, and in due course we'll also learn what committees Tepper and our other representatives will be appointed to by the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor that will also shape their focus on all those issues. Karen.
Thank you, Case.